It was a bye week for football, soccer, and volleyball open Big 12 play, and we take pit stops at the course in the ring. All coming up on College Press Box. Hello, welcome to College Press Box. I'm your host, James Grachos. Very happy to be here. I'm sure you're coming straight from the calm and collected presidential debate. More importantly, volleyball, soccer, and golf are in full swing, but we're going to start the show with some college football. Now, in 1988, linebacker Britt Hager solidified a very special place in Longhorn history. 3 of his sons went to Baylor, Blinn College, and North Texas, but his 4th son decided on UT. Today, the sophomore defensive end is trying to create his own legacy. Our Mark Skoll Jr. reports.
The Hager name associates with toughness on the football field, and Brecken Hager is no exception.
I play the game like old-fashioned. In my personal opinion, the way the game should be played. Go as hard as you can, hit them as hard as you can, just be relentless every play on this snap.
Hager learned that hard-nosed mentality from his father, Britt Hager, the Longhorns' all-time leader in tackles.
He taught me how to hit. He taught me, and it's something I learned young and just have gotten better at. And now, I'm never afraid to go hit the biggest guy out there. I'm not afraid of anyone.
While Hager enjoys being associated with his father and older brothers, he doesn't want to be in their shadow any longer.
I want to make my own name, my own legacy. People even call me Britt Hager or call me Bryce. I want people to know me as Brecken.
And Hager's legacy as Brecken has already begun. All of his teammates acknowledge the passion he has for the game.
I love Hager. I mean, at the end of the day, we call him Wild Man, so we call him Kamikaze because it don't matter what if he does something wrong, he's going to go out there and hit somebody.
Brecken really cares about this team to where he'll do anything for us. We're his brothers, and he's our brother as well.
I just let him do him, and I just react to him. So it's his world. I'm living in it.
In Hager's world, the individual spotlight is nice, but he would rather create a legacy for his team than for himself.
And more so than myself, though, I want this team to be, in my class, to be something that is thought like we're the class, we're the team that brought Texas back. Something that will be bigger than myself.
As for the next time Hager takes a trip to Supercuts, well, that won't happen until he accomplishes something bigger than himself.
I made a promise to myself and teammates that I wasn't going to cut my hair until we won the Big 12.
Mark Skoll Jr., College Press Box.
We're coming back to Mark in a couple minutes, but first we got Matt Adams in to try and explain this Longhorn defense. Matt, how's it going, man?
James, it's going great. I'm happy to answer this million-dollar question for you.
All right. Good to hear. This morning we were at the Charlie Strong press conference where he talked about the players' relationship with Vance Bedford.
Our defensive players, they know who Coach Bedford is. They haven't lost any confidence or any faith at all in him. And those defensive players, of anything, if you were to ask them, they'll try to put it on themselves, which I won't let them put it on themselves. And, they'll try to say it's their fault. It isn't their fault. We just got to do a better job of coaching.
Let's be real here. Bedford's on the hot seat. We all know Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones are waiting for their shot. So do you see the changes being more on the coaching side or the personnel side?
It's mostly going to be on the personnel. It's a mix right now, James, of both coaching and players. You look at the coaching right now, and Bedford isn't quite living up to what Texas expected of him. Bedford, in his very first season, Texas defense was 25th in the nation. Last year, they were 107. This year, they're up to 79. Yes, that's improvement, but in Texas right now, after addressing the quarterback problems, the fans, the fan base, they need to see something more from this defense. In regards to personnel, it's going to be a lot of young players. Deshaun Elliott, Brandon Jones, they're going to step in this weekend. They're going to start seeing more playing time. Jason Hall, he's not living up to what people expected. Even Holland Hill's on the hot seat just a little bit. Dylan Haynes, those are the 3 guys that you're going to see less and less of. Brandon Jones and Deshaun Elliott more and more of.
Yeah, I know I'm excited to watch those guys. Brandon Jones, of course, with the 2 incredible blocked punts. And as mentioned, the Horns take on Oklahoma State on Friday, and Paul Boyette spoke on their opponent.
We can't harp on last year at all. Last year is last year. This year it's a new focus. It's a new team on both sides for Oklahoma State and us. And we know going into the ball game, we know what Oklahoma State's going to do well, and what the job they want to get done. We just got to go out there and stop them what they do best.
Tough to get a gauge on Oklahoma State. They already have losses to Central Michigan and Baylor, but somehow they have the edge in the spread. Given the circumstances, is this still a must-win for the Horns?
It's a must-win for the Horns, James, and here's why. You look at the next 5 games for Texas, and the only game that should be a guarantee is Iowa State. The next 5 games are at Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Iowa State, Baylor, and Kansas State. And Kansas State, yes, Texas should beat them, but Texas has not won at Kansas State since 2002. So there's going to be another storyline there that the Horns are going to have to shake off, and a streak that they're going to have to end. All 5 of these games are a situation for Texas that they should be able to win, but if they slip at one game, it could possibly go even further.
All right. Thanks, Matt. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Now, before we close the segment, the former 4-star receiver Ja'Cory Warwick was essentially written off going into his senior year. But as fall camp began, Coach Strong said the senior began to stand out. Mark Skoll has more on the receiver they call Petey.
Texas senior wide receiver Ja'Cory Warwick wasn't expected to earn a starting role for the 2016 season, but now he's become one of the Longhorns' top targets.
I love the way that Petey's playing right now, Corey Warwick. You look at the catch, he's really slippery, catches the ball, does a great job of getting up the field, but I'm just happy just to see the improvement there.
I think slippery would describe me pretty well, just because I'm not that big, but guys have a hard time getting their hands on me, and I can usually make the first guy miss.
Despite coming to Texas as a 4-star recruit, Warwick hasn't had a chance to see much time on the field. While it was tough for him not to play, his family's support kept him motivated to keep working hard.
I have a great support system. My family, they've always been behind me and supported me through whatever I wanted to do. So really, it came from within that, I never thought about leaving Texas or anything like that. So they were behind me 100%.
In the Longhorns' 3 games this year, Warwick has compiled 13 receptions for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. While Warwick enjoys his own success on the gridiron, he likes to see his teammates thrive as well.
And it just feels good to not only thrive myself, but to see your teammates, the guys that you practice and you sweat it so much with, and you've been through thick and thin with, it feels great for all of us to come out and have success.
Warwick and the Longhorns gear up for their 2nd straight road game this Saturday against Oklahoma State. Mark Skoll Jr., College Press Box.
Thank you, Mark. Guy does it all. Now, when we come back, Luke Kendry and I will recap last week in UT Sports. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Joined here by Luke Kendry. Luke, Rory yesterday, man. Crazy stuff.
One of the best playoffs ever. A great FedEx Cup season, no doubt.
It was, man. It was. And we'll be right back with some golf talk. But first, volleyball in action. The 5th-ranked volleyball began Big 12 play this week. They fell for just the 2nd time against Wisconsin last Sunday, but got back in the form with some big wins against West Virginia and Kansas. The Horns traveled to Morgantown on Tuesday. They dropped the first set, but went unblemished from then on. On Saturday, Ebony Wanabu and Micaiah White dominated, both recording over 20 kills against the number 8 Jayhawks. They went on to win, and the Horns improved to 9-2 on the season.
Texas soccer opened up Big 12 play this past weekend with matches against conference rivals Baylor and Oklahoma. The Longhorns began their weekend in Waco as they were looking to extend their unbeaten new season best. Texas sophomore Katie Glenn's goal in the 47th minute led Texas to a 1-1 tie with the Baylor Bears. The Horns then traveled to Norman on Saturday to take on the Sooners. Texas took the early lead with a goal from freshman Sierra Henson. However, Lizzie Llewellyn's goal during a sudden victory overtime led Oklahoma past the Horns 2-1. Texas will continue their non-conference play against Oklahoma on Friday.
In their 2nd tournament of the season, women's golf won the Lady Paladin Invitational at Furman University. Texas had a 3-day total of 11 under par, 2 strokes past Furman. The Longhorns' victory is the first under head coach Ryan Murphy and also the first since 2011. The Horns were led by Emily Hoffman, who fired a 7 under 65 on Friday and would keep that lead through Sunday as she picked up the medalist honor. The Horns have 2 weeks before they return to action at the Jim West Classic. Now, lofty expectations face the men's golf team after a spectacular spring. They came just short of a national championship, but the expectations remain sky high. Luke went out to UT Golf Club to chat with the #1 team in the nation.
The Texas men's golf program is one rich with history, notable names, and championships. Last season, the Longhorns faced a defeat to the Oregon Ducks in the NCAA championship. Despite their runner-up finish, Texas was preseason ranked #1 in the country. But know that this season means so much more.
It's definitely a good feeling to be ranked 1 in anything, but at the end of the day, it's a preseason rank, and we haven't even started yet. We know that this year we have a good chance to be as good as we were last year, if not better, and we look forward to what the season will bring.
The Texas Longhorn men's golf program has its eyes set well past their previous success. They're hoping to lean on their leadership and experience this season, and the goal is very clear: add another NCAA title to this program's history.
Well, we're always thinking about winning championships, so whether that's the next tournament that we're playing or conference regionals or a national championship. So our guys are always focused on success.
The determination, focus, and grit of this program is evident, and there's no doubt this team is looking to finish one better than last season.
Yeah, we want to win. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, we had a great season last year. I think individual goals, I think everyone wants to just get better, and I think this is a great place to do that.
As Texas continues to improve, they will need to lean on their strength, experience.
You know, I plan on being a teammate where the guys look up to. That comes, like big responsibility in practice when we're traveling, qualifying. But I'm not one to really talk too much. I just want to lead by example.
With 4 of last year's 5 starters returning, Texas hopes to use their leadership to fuel a renewed confidence and belief.
It's all about believing what you can do. It's one thing to have potential, to have ability, but to really believe that and understand and what you're capable of doing based on what you've done before really makes a big difference.
The Longhorns will begin this season of belief with trips to Chicago, Fort Worth, and Atlanta. Reporting from UT Golf Club, Luke Hendry, College Press Box.
Luke, awesome stuff, man. Now, Bo Hostler had the spring of all springs last year. It seems like every tournament he was rather winning or in contention, but of course he's moving on to bigger and better things. So who's going to carry the torch that he put down after last season?
4 out of the 5 starters returned, so there's no doubt there's going to be some depth this season, but I think Gavin Hall will be the #1 player. Lone senior, his leadership, experience, and ability to play well under pressure will suit him well at the top spot.
Yeah, he used to actually whoop me back in New York State. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, so the top 4 is pretty much all set. Hall, Scheffler, Gim, and Funk. Who do you want to see come in and play that important 5th role?
I'd like to see Kalina Prius come in and complete the top 5, a redshirt junior who has worked extremely hard on his game over the offseason, and he's competitive. This team's not lacking ability, so to have a guy who will come in and compete each and every week is what a Texas team this year is looking for.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of low scores, but it's going to be important to have that 5th guy there. Thank you, Luke. Great stuff, and I'm sure I speak for the both of us as we thank Arnold Palmer for being the great ambassador of the game. Although we never saw him play, his charisma and legacy affected all who love the sport, no matter how old. I know when I turn on the Masters in early April, it won't be the same. Arnold Palmer, the king, passed away yesterday at the age of 87. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to College Press Box. In a surprise turn, we're going to the rink. Now, the Dallas Stars were 1 game away from the Western Conference Finals last spring, but this young team should only get better with age. Training camp began this weekend in Cedar Park. Our Reese Miller and Mark Skoll were there.
Thank you very much, James. Day 2 right now underway in Cedar Park at the HEB Center. Dallas Stars training camp. Reese Miller and Mark Skoll here with you. Mark, Dallas is such an interesting team, so young but so talented. Led the Western Conference in points last year, 1 game away from going to those Western Conference Finals. fell short to the St. Louis Blues, but still Dallas should be a team that could contend for the Stanley Cup again this year.
Yeah, 109 points in the Western Conference last year. First in the conference, that's huge, especially because that conference is just loaded every single year. You see the Blackhawks, you see teams like Minnesota Wild and Nashville Predators. Just that division is insane. And the fact that they were able to come out with the most points in the Western Conference is big. And if they want to get that same kind of start next year, they're going to have to start right now here in training camp. It all starts here, second year in a row here at the HEB Center, and this is where it all starts.
We're excited. We want to build off what we did last year. I know it was my first year, but hearing everything that's gone on in the organization in the last few years, it was a big step for us as a group, winning the division, winning the conference, winning a playoff round. That's all great, but it doesn't guarantee anything this year. So we want to build off what we did. It starts with a great training camp. We want to make sure we get better every week, every month. Stay healthy, have some fun, and good things will happen.
It's always exciting, you know. You see new faces, and you're excited to get going, and then kind of measure yourself against top competition again. It's nice to get into real practice and get things going.
And in order for the Dallas Stars to get where they want to this year, they're going to rely a lot on their captain, Mr. Jamie Benn. He's really come into his own the last couple of years. Won the Art Ross Trophy, led the NHL in scoring 2 years ago. If it weren't for Patrick Kane, probably would have done it last year. One of the best forwards and the best players in all of the NHL. Skating right here behind us. Didn't speak to the media today, talked a little bit yesterday, didn't participate in the World Cup because of that core surgery, but he says he's healthy and he says he's ready to go. It should be another huge year for the Dallas Stars captain.
And he's really one of the best to wear the C on the sweater in the NHL, no question about it. 89 points in the NHL last year, only behind Patrick Kane. 41 goals, that's incredible. And his teammates really love the leadership he brings to the table for the Stars.
You can see right away that Jimmy got the charisma and like everything that goes in a good captain. I think he's great. Since day one, he was unreal, and I think his game developed as far as like top player in the league, and he's awesome to be around, and like you don't have that in many teams, so we're lucky to have him.
There really isn't a weak spot in his game. You know, he moves the puck well, he's physical, he's a leader, he can score, he's got patience, he's tough. There's a lot of great leaders in that locker room, and there's no question he's the guy that should be having the seat.
Many think Jamie Benn very well could be the NHL MVP at the end of the season. One guy that came in last year, Mark, among several former championship winners, Patrick Sharp. Blackhawks won the Cup 2 years ago. Patrick Sharp came in last year, was very solid for this team, filled a little bit of a leadership void, and about to be year two for he and several others.
Yeah, it's great for him to be back here and really have a relationship with these guys. Last year, coming off a Stanley Cup win, and he didn't really know the players here when he came to the Cedar Park Center last year. Kind of wasn't his really kind of atmosphere. He just wasn't used to it yet. But now he's back. He feels more comfortable than ever. And Sharp sees a lot of similarities between this Dallas Stars team and the Stanley Cup winning teams in Chicago.
All the championship teams that I've been on in my career, we have one thing in common. We care for each other on and off the ice, and I see that in this group already.
Lots of excitement buzzing here and lots of optimism surrounding the Dallas Stars, surrounding training camp, but one glaring issue remains. They were one of the worst defensive teams in all of the NHL last year. Lots of young, skilled offensive defensemen, but the biggest issue for this team and the thing that seems to be holding them back remains to be goalie.
Well, there's always a weakness on every playoff team. There's always something. But for this team, when you have a fast-paced offense like the Dallas Stars do, it's going to lead to a lot of fast break opportunities for opposing teams, and that's what you saw last year. And it didn't give goalies Kari Lehtonen and Antti Niemi much room to work with, but if you look at them, it was like a two-man rotation throughout the season. And it was Antti Niemi, Kari Lehtonen, they both had very similar stats. You look at Antti Niemi, he had 2.67 goals against average and a .905 save percentage. And then you look at Kari Lehtonen, he was 2.76 and .906 goals or save percentage, which is basically couldn't get any closer than it is. So they're both quality goaltenders, but they just have to figure out who's going to be the guy who's going to be in the net the most.
Either way, like, you just want to do your job and work on the ice and focus on the upcoming games and practice.
When it's your turn, enjoy it and make most of it, and when it's not, just keep working, and you know, things turn around all the time, so you just have to keep going and not sitting still.
Although we didn't see Tyler Sagan on the ice here this weekend, he does say he's ready to go. He was on the bike. He looks good, says he will be ready for that opener. Dallas opens their preseason tonight against the team that eliminated them from the playoffs, the St. Louis Blues. The Texas Stars open their regular season right here at the HEB Center October 14th against the Charlotte Checkers. From Dallas Stars training camp, Reese Miller and Mark Skull. James, will send it back to you.
Thanks, guys. You know, it warms my heart to see TSTV's finest covering hockey. I know I'm looking forward to this season. When we come back, we'll go through next week in Longhorn sports. Don't go anywhere. Hello, welcome back to College Press Box. Got a lot for you in Longhorn sports coming this week. Wednesday, the 28th, volleyball faces OU at 6 p.m. You can catch it on ESPNU. Thursday, women's swimming gets going with their first scrimmage at 3 p.m. And on Friday, men's swimming will have a scrimmage as well at 3 p.m. Soccer plays Oklahoma State at 7 p.m. on Longhorn Network. Saturday, the 1st of October, football plays Oklahoma State at 11 a.m. on ABC. Won't want to miss it. Volleyball at Kansas State, 7 p.m. And somehow, men's tennis will be at the Rice Invitational as well as the ITA All-American. Sunday the 2nd, soccer plays Kansas at 1 p.m. at home. And men's golf will be going to Colonial Golf Club in Fort Worth to play the Nike Collegiate Invitational. Before we go, our own Elena Vieira went out to chat with some of the students to see whether there is still some confidence in the football team.
Welcome to this week's Man on the Street. I'm Elena Vieira, here talking to the students of the 40 Acres, asking them about how the Horns have been performing so far this season. How has Shane Buechele performed so far 3 weeks into the season?
He's been great.
I think he's done pretty well. He's making good decisions on the field. The offense needs to be cleaned up a little bit, and the defense could help him out, but so far I think he's pretty good.
He's fantastic. Couldn't be better.
Considering the pressure of starting at UT as a freshman, I would say he's done pretty well.
I mean, I think the first game that he played, we all saw that he was a great quarterback. I think that he'll be consistent the rest of the season.
So he's been playing pretty well.
How has the dynamic between Swoops and Buechele switching off the 18-wheeler offense been working so far for the Horns?
I think it's been working well. Like, whenever we need to make a, like that last touchdown in the Notre Dame game, like, it was a great call to put Tyrone Swoops in.
When Swoops comes in, he adds a different dynamic that Shane can't bring, and when Shane's in, he adds the passing dynamic that Swoops can't bring. So I think they work hand in hand.
I think it kind of interrupts the rhythm a little bit. I think Shane should stay out there a little more and try to get in rhythm with receivers.
I mean, because he's a true freshman right now, I do like the 18-wheeler package, but as he gets older, we're just going to have to go to just relying on him.
I like that too. I mean, the 18-wheeler, it's fantastic. Yeah, I think it's a really good dynamic to have going there on offense. Yeah.
I think the first game it definitely did work. I think they did a great job of switching in and out and playing each other's strengths, and how Charlie Strong said that they're like brothers on the team.
I know Swoops is a senior, but it's showing real maturity that he can actually do that. Be able to hand it off to the true freshman to take the start, but also go in there produce when he's called on. So I think that's pretty good.
One last question. Do you think Texas can win the Big 12 this year?
Heck yeah, of course.
Absolutely. We definitely still have a chance if we beat OU.
Yes.
I do think they can. I don't think the competition is too tough this year.
Absolutely. We're going to run the table, beat OU, and win the Big 12.
That is all we have for you tonight. Thank you for spending your Monday evening with us. Be sure to catch College Press Box on TSTV every Monday at 9:30. And for all sports news, you can follow us on Twitter at TSTV Sports. Don't forget to watch our sister show, College Crossfire, every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Reese Miller will be dealing with me for the 3rd straight week, and I'm sure he's got a great show planned. You can follow Crossfire on Twitter at CollegeXFire. Special thanks to everyone in studio, Master Control, and to all of our reporters. I'm James Grachos. See you next week.